Hi guys, my name is Mayana and today I'm going to be doing reading 1-star reviews of my favorite books. Okay, so editing Mayana here, and I just want to say please excuse my lashes because I was drunk when I put them on. Like, I'm not even kidding. So I've done this before. I've done this with the Cruel Prince, so I'm not going to be doing that in this video. I'm not really the kind of person who gets mad because people don't like my favorite books or because people don't have the same opinions as me. Like, I'm not 12. Like, I understand that everyone has different opinions, because if we didn't, then the book community would be very, very boring. I'm a bit tipsy, so I thought that would make this fun. So I don't know how. Hopefully this is coherent. So yeah, let's just get started. I'm going to be doing From Blood and Ash first, and I think people will probably comment on the fact that the world building from Blood and Ash is extreme. Like, it has a lot of world building. A lot. I saw people say Poppy's annoying, but I don't think Poppy's annoying. I really like her character. Criticisms for the first book specifically, not for the series as a whole. I can give you some criticisms, and I low-key hope I see somebody point out the fact that Jennifer Armentrout steals her plots from not her plots, but she basically just does whatever's popular at the moment, and she basically like copies other like authors. Like, this book is very reminiscent of like a Sarah J Maas, because Jennifer Armentrout books are like usually like 300 pages, and now she's writing these tomes. Anyways, let's just get into it because this review is long. I'm sorry, I can't. God, all of these reviews are so long. Oh my gosh, I found aliases. Okay, I'll do this. Okay, the way I lost all my effing brain cells reading this book. The fact that there is over 600 pages, the fact that this book was an average rating, and then a parentheses at the time review at 4.3. The fact that I'm, excuse me while I go vomit all the angst and cringe out of me. This book won Goodreads choice for category of romance. That was a choice. Someone explain. I am confusion. This was reading this was like reading a badly written fanfic combined of all the most repulsive and annoying YA tropes we hate. Also, never trust book twitters for recommendations. He gave it 1.5 stars. I really have nothing to say because it's like he didn't really critique anything. He just said it's like reading a very badly written fan fiction, and that's very true. Like, okay, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna read someone else's review now. I just read that one because I was like, oh, I wonder if anybody's ever did this and seen my review. But I've only given 2-star. I don't give 1-star reviews. So to see a booktuber give a 1-star review, I had to read that because I just thought that was like, I don't know, I just thought it was funny. Anyways, okay. Here's one. DNF at 13%. You DNF'd at 13%, gave it 1 star, and then wrote 3 paragraphs. First of all, you DNF'd and then you rated a book. I can understand if you DNF'd at like 50%, if you DNF'd at 70%, but you DNF'd at 13% and still proceeded to rate the book. Okay. Anyway, I'm honestly flummoxed by the ratings of this book. How can Damsel, one of the best YA tropes I've read recently, have a 3.4 rating on Goodreads, and the self-indulgent vampire AU version of Alcatraz has like 4.4. Like, I literally have no words. This is why I have trust issues. You guys led me astray from the path of light. That is very true. This does read like a vampire AU of Alcatraz. She kind of is making points there. From Blood and Ash was all over my feed. Even though I've never impressed with Armentrout's previous works, all of her heroes are basically the same person with different hair. That is true. I'm a sucker for vampires and court intrigue, and I thought to myself, you know, maybe this could be awesome. Famous last words. I know. You'd think I learned my lesson by now and stopped reading books just because all my friends are reading it, and yet here we are. I've been impressed by authors before whose work I didn't like in the beginning, and then they did a total 360. Like, they missed the freeway off-ramp to the town of Awesome by complete accident. The U-turn. Who says town of Awesome? Are you 12? But no, this is bad. It's one of those historical fantasy worlds, but the hero talks like modern day whatever. That's very true. The love interest is Smirky Smarasor, who immediately starts calling the heroine princess. She's a virgin because reasons, which, okay. The whole beginning of the book is a slew of info dump, and I can already tell I'm going to despise the hero and everyone else in this book. Like, I respect the review, I definitely understand, but it's also like, why did you give it 1 star if you only read 13%? Like, I very much agree. Like, I don't understand why. I hate in fantasies when it's supposed to be set in historical and then they start talking in modern. I hate that. And then, I mean, he does call her princess, even though, like, he does not know her, like, randomly. I think it's cute, though, but that's because I want a man to call me princess, okay? And I do agree, like, he's very... I don't know, I feel like this part is gonna be boring, like doing From Blood and Ash, because I agree, like, I know the book is bad, but I can also decipher, like, okay, this book was bad, but I had a good time reading it. I like the characters, like, I can ignore some of the stuff. And yeah, granted, some people can't, that's fine, they don't have to, but I have fun while reading it. I read it in one sitting. It actually took me a while to get into it, but once I got into it, I loved it. I loved the characters. But I mean, even now, I'm so irritated with the series. Like, the first 2 books got 5 stars, and then the last book got like 3 stars, almost to 2 star. Don't even know if I'm going to continue on with the series. So it's like, I definitely understand the reviewer here. Like, she's making several points, but why give a book 1 star if you DNF'd it at 13%? Like I said, I can understand 70%, but 13, you should have just put it in your DNF folder and moved. You wanted to make a rant review, you know. You wanted to make a rant review on Goodreads. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know. Ooh, Whitney did one. Okay, this whole book was just badly written at first, aka 500 smutless pages, and then it became disturbing and upsetting, so I had to start reading the last 100 pages because I was angry. This book was so badly written, and I couldn't stand either of the main characters, especially the love interest. That's valid. That's very valid. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the next book just because I'm not really getting anything from those. Now I'm gonna do Deadly. How you spell dead? And I'm gonna do, is it Deadly Education? Yeah, I'm gonna do Deadly. Can't remember the title of my favorite book. So now I'm gonna do Deadly Education. I think the rant reviews are, I think that they're probably gonna talk about how the book doesn't have any plot, because it doesn't. God, these reviews are so long. Y'all be writing essays for books y'all don't like. Like, God. Monty has one, but his review is so long, I'm not reading that. My DNF is at 40% and has like 10 paragraphs. Like, so someone said, my thoughts. I feel like Daily Education was a great idea about a magical school that was a Hunger Games type of graduation, but somewhere in the middle the plot got lost and we got a weak story. First of all, I hated Elle. That's funny because I identify with Elle so much. Like, she's my favorite character. Like, she's one of the characters, like, I feel like if I was a character, I would be Elle. So they would not like me at all. I don't usually hate characters, but God, I despise her. Not only was she incredibly rude all the time, but she was very entitled, self-centered, and very selfish. Yeah, that pretty much describes me. I hated the fact that she thought the world revolved around her. Furthermore, kept pushing people away, especially her so-called friends and Orion. Then we have Orion Lake, who's portrayed as the hero, saving so many lives, which he is, but he is also the person that can't speak for himself and seems like he does whatever other people tell him to do. And the romance between them was very non-existent. There wasn't any form of attraction. Editing my end here, and just 2 things I want to mention really quickly. One, I did not realize I only did 1 review for Daily Education until editing, because I was so tipsy and like I was annoyed at a review that I did. I didn't put it in the video just because I didn't like how I responded to that person. So if I do another one of these videos, I'll do Daily Education again. And then 2, I am so sorry that you have to sit here and listen to me struggle to read. I promise I'm not illiterate. It's just the fact that I'm tipsy. Like, I literally sound like a 3rd grader who's learning how to read out loud. I am so sorry. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to Ace of Spades, and anybody who doesn't like Ace of Spades is purely out of racism. Let's ignore my lashes for the first 15 minutes of this clip because I was tipsy when I put them on and I didn't realize that they were on crooked for 15 minutes. Luckily my camera overheated. Like I said, my camera overheated and I'm kind of like not even tipsy anymore. So this, whatever. So anyways, on to Ace of Spades. Somebody said, consider this. My next book is going to be called Gay Dates, and the cover was going to have 2 twinks on it and lots of rainbow imaginary, but none of the main characters will be gay. Supporting character might be gay, but I won't explicitly say that. The gay in the title refers to the antagonist named the gays who is evil, and the protagonist will win by taking out the gays, and I'm sure it'll be fine and acceptable. And then they're like the little thing S. I don't really know what that means. But if it's shade to Ace of Spades, both characters in the book are gay. They both kiss two other people, like two of the same sex. Like Chiamaka kisses a girl and Devon kisses a guy. He also had an ex-boyfriend, and he's not a side character, he's a main character. It's dual POV. So like if that's shade to the author, it was terrible shade. I went back and forth on whether I should rate this book or not. I almost never give 1-star ratings, but I feel like, to be fair and honest, I can see why this book is popular. It's okay why it's okay. There's some social injustice commentaries with good insight, and the plot has interesting aspects, although I'm little contrived in parts. The characters are well developed and the writing is solid enough. There's some good queer rep throughout, but all of it vastly outweighed by the ace phobia going on with this. It's problematic, to put it kindly. The ace bait folk by naming your book Ace of Spades, to use an asexual symbol all over the cover and promote it as why none of the main characters be ace, to have a group of antagonists called the aces that need to be exposed for what they are and taken out by other queer characters can be happy. Thread's just a little too close to ace phobia. Actually, who my kin is blatant and stomps all over ace folk. Anti-ace sentiment is usually an issue with the gender and sexual diverse community, and seeing this book being championed and lured as a great queer story from folk within the community who are choosing to ignore prejudice and hate promoting subtext in this story about harmful text is disheartening at the least. So let me just say that, what does the title Ace of Spades have to do with asexuality, considering the fact that ace is like, it's like a card. It says it has the asexual symbol, but if you play cards, you know that Ace of Spades is a card, and the book literally looks like a card, like, you know. So, and I understand, like, the book, it would be good to have asexual rep. I can't say that it wouldn't be. Look, I could completely see one of the characters being asexual, and there is some other characters in this book who could have been asexual. I completely agree with that. But you saying this book is ace phobic when it was not promoted as ace. None of the characters, this author has been promoting this book to queer main characters, so I feel like she also would have promoted it as ace, and she was not. Okay, so I do want to come back and add some more now that I'm, like, you know, 100% sober. I understand, like, this person wanting ace rep. Like I said, like, I completely understand that would have been good, but the author didn't promote it as ace or anything like that. So I just think that it's a bit unfair to say that this book is ace phobic when the book, like, everything is just based off poker cards. So like the whole aces and ace of spades is literally centered around poker cards. There's another book called, like, it's called Ace of something, and it's also themed off of like poker cards. So I think it's really unfair to say this about a black author, and I think that this person was trying to create an issue and make it seem like it was something so that they could rate this book 1 star, because I don't understand how it's ace phobic when it has nothing to do with asexual people at all. So I just don't understand where this person was coming from, and I just feel like I said, they were just looking for an issue so that they could rate it 1 star. That's the only thing I can come up with. Like, I could be wrong. I'm not saying that that is true, but it's like, why else would you accuse this book of being acephobic when it has nothing to do with asexual people? Anyways, okay, next review. Fail. This book has so much potential and it failed miserably on 1. Connectedness. I got whiplash with all the inconsistencies of the plot and a weak ass ending / twist. That's weak to you? Okay. 2. Characters who made no sense. Even if I know this is a fantasy / mystery, it's not a fantasy. They are incredibly unremarkable and cringe-worthy. Lots of eye rolling. Racism, okay, I see the world parallels, but at the same time it's so bizarre on how it played out. Duh. Yes, it's Get Out, but the damn weird ending made me lose my shit at what the hell it was about. It was like a Stephen King Carrie plus Deathly Hallows and Hogwarts Final Fight mashup. It's a YA book. It's fiction, so I wouldn't go into, like, I expect my fiction realistic to an extent, like whatever. I guess other people don't. Delivers on atmosphere, yes, it's Get Out, but a little bit of it, and honestly it doesn't even work with this book. I personally think this book relates to Get Out more than any other black book that's compared to Get Out, because you know any thriller that has any play on racism is compared to Get Out, and I think that this book had the most of it. So I mean, I don't know, I'm seeing the parallels here. I don't really know. Did we watch the same movie? I don't know. Gossip Girl, I guess, as I've never seen the TV show, but how brain damaged does a person have to be? 3 students who are billed as smarter than teachers, students who actually just show up to school but never really go to school or learn anything. 4 teens who are smarter than adults but can't boil water to make tea. 5 adults who only show up to be props, racist props, WTF. Parents who are there to pay for phones, school fees, clothes, etc., but only don't care about their kids, who just do whatever the hell they want. I mean, if you've seen like any teen drama, if you've read any YA contemporary, that's literally what happens in it. But whatever. 6 sex, again, mindless, and it didn't happen with promoting anything worth reading. An opportunity wasted as this type of LGBT, but it was just bed hopping hookups as value as sugar coated sugar. Oh, so Gossip Girl, right? Whatever. You've never seen Gossip Girl, so I don't even know what that statement. Anyways, I mean, that sounds about like, I mean, I can't say in high school people was hooking up with people because I didn't have any friends, but I was listening to people tea, and that sounds just about right to me, but whatever. I appreciate the author's note and explaining why she wrote it and made it easier to see her things, but doesn't mean it was worth reading for me. Well, this review wasn't worth reading for me. Somebody said, I think books like this are super important to show how great racism can be in institutions, but for me, the execution was lacking. The beginning reads like Gossip Girl ripoff with nothing new. Then you move to part 2 of the story and inconsistent plot changes just to give you whiplash. I also think that there are some issues with how the book ends. The epilogue gave a good insight to the future, but also had added details seem ridiculous. Overall, the book had potential but lacked proper execution for me. Like, I get that review, but like, why give it 1 star? Like, everyone's entitled to their own race. Everyone's entitled to their own rating system, and like, I'm not being like, why did you give it 1 star? Like, you need to give it 3. But I'm just like, I don't know. It just seemed like they had I mean, it could just be like people who give reviews, they want to say stuff nice, and then, but it just seems like they didn't have any problems with the book, but they still gave it 1 star. So it's just like, why did you give it 1 star? Once again, don't take that as, why did you give it 1 star? You know, like, it's just like, what is your rating system like? What books have you rated 5 stars? Like, you know, I want to know what books have you rated 3 stars? Like, I'm a bit curious here, you know. Now we're gonna move on to the Poppy War, which I feel like also just has a bunch of, if anybody doesn't like the book, it's probably because they're racist. The pacing in the Poppy War is a bit weird, and I feel like people are probably going to talk about just how like over the top some of the plot lines are. Like, it's a triggering, so somebody's probably going to talk about how extreme like some of those plot lines are. Someone said, I picked up this book because it was excellent reviews for a new book by a new author, but I also couldn't find anything I liked about it. There's people that draw similarities between this and The Name of the Wind. I actually just finished reading The Name of the Wind. Like, I literally just finished reading it today. Not really seeing the similarities. And I think it comes with the military style school and characters. The main character, poor, no parents, smart, daring, good at everything, holds grudges, wicked temper, an electric teacher who likes not teaching classes. And as far as the similarities go, our main character herself is very unlikable. Everything she tries to do, she can do, and complains all the time. Apparently, having a temper and complaining is central to her power. Okay, now that you bring up the similarities, I can see it. But it's just very, my favorite thing about like book reviews, or the fact that we all like have different opinion on books, is like, I could absolutely love a character and people be like, yeah, this character was so unlikable. I'm sure it was on purpose. And I'm like, I love this character. Like, this character is me. And it's like, I just think that's very interesting. The writing isn't nice. Well, she was 19 when she wrote this. There's a lot of telling and not showing. Long explanations by characters instead of interesting dialogue. The author writes in the voice where all the characters seem to talk the same. It's like the same person. There's really nothing that distinguishes them. Storyline, you can spend half. It's sad I still haven't read the 3rd book though, but that's because I don't want it to end, you know. Well, damn, this is one of the books I really anticipated almost for a year now. So much that I bought all the books in the series, being sure I was going to love it. Why did you do that? And why wouldn't I? Asian theme magic fantasy sounds right up my proverbial reading alley. It was so well reviewed. What could go wrong? Well, what went wrong was that this book is a hot mess, written more like a YA novel than an adult novel, despite some of the subject matter. That's because the author was 19 when she wrote it. What have you written at 19? Oh, okay. The main character, despite an initial interest start, develops into angsty, demanding character prone to fit tempers and that disrespect those who would have been her superiors in the setting she's written in, namely school and war, which is very improbable. I don't know. I feel like Ren is very... Maybe we've never met, you know, a person that has a different personality than you. The early chapters of her learning strategy and combat are absent in the remaining 2 books, which is disappointment to say that the least, as those are the most interesting, where the main character definitely shines. I'm left to wonder if I would have been bitterly disappointed if I hadn't spent months spending the reading of this and of the author and the people who marketed this book had done so much to clear idea as who the book was meant for. Young adults who would be able to relate more middly to the main character's angst. So leave out some of the darker elements, not being quite so graphic with them, or write some with characters that have more depth to handle darker issues rather than just using them as a means to exploit the issues to give the characters motivation to do the destructive and foolish things that they were warned not to do, thereby propelling the book to this idiotic conclusion and making it impossible to like this main character and highly unlikely that I'll read the other damn book. So I bought the series, genuinely perplexed as to why this is so highly rated. It's so highly rated because not everyone has the same opinion as you, boo. Maybe have you considered that? I feel like this book worked as an adult novel because not everything has to be YA, and considering the fact that new adult really isn't a genre unless it's for romance, I feel like the book could have been put into new adult, but like I said, it's not really a genre unless there's romance, and indie authors make that a genre themselves because for some reason publishers won't make new adult a genre, so of course it has to be put into the adult. There are people who do read adults who are between the ages of 18 and 25. Like, we do read and we do want characters who can relate to us. Like, I can relate to Ren being angsty. I'm very angsty even as a 23-year-old. So it's like there are people who exist. Just because you don't relate to the main character and you don't know anybody who's angsty doesn't mean that this book should just be pushed to YA and should be taken away its darker elements. I think the darker elements in this book is very, very important, and I think that the author touches on such, and it makes it more realistic to me because it's a fantasy based on a war between China and Asia, and between China and Japan just fantasized or put into fantasy. So I feel like writing those darker topics just makes it more interesting. Because YA you can't touch on these topics, it would have just felt like you weren't hitting the nail on the head. So whatever. The next review says, it is fun and interesting. It's a fun and interesting book on the surface. That being said, if you look at the book as a fantasy version of China and Japan, it's super racist. And I don't really get how it's racist if you look at it that way, because that's how it's written, and author is literally writing from her people's experience with this. I feel like it would be more racist if a white person wrote this, but considering the author is Asian and her ancestors went through this, I don't really see how it's racist. My camera keeps overheating and I'm not even tipsy anymore, so like this isn't even fun anymore, you know? So if you want to see me doing what I'm drunk, I feel like that would be fun, because the beginning of the video, like, I was really out of it, girl, but like now I've kind of sobered up, so it's not as entertaining, you know? So if you want to see one where I actually am drunk, I have some more books I can do, you know, some more reviews I can read, and yeah, let me know. So if you like this video, be sure to like this video, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.